Good evening, and for the final time this season, welcome to Attack Wrap here on Rogers TV. Co-host Zach Scribner, Adrien Mousseau, joined by Mark McKelvie, play-by-play from Rogers TV. It was a lengthy drive. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mark.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys. I got on the show twice in one season. This might be a record. Glad to be here. Always look forward to our season finale episode. Always hoping it's going to come later in the spring. Season. But this year was a fun year for the Owen Sound Attack, and it was great to have OHL hockey back on our television screens, on our radios, on our computers. It was just great to finally have hockey back in our lives.
Reminder to everyone, it is the final show, so we are giving away an autographed jersey. It's set behind Mark there. You just have to text Mark Perry a thought or a comment from this season, and you'll be entered into the jersey giveaway signed by every member from the Owen Sound Attack this season.
You're going to want this, that's for sure. This is a keepsake right here. Get this thing framed.
For sure. Captain Mark Woolley's final signature on that jersey there as well, Igor Chibrikov. So it's a jersey you could give away for a Christmas present later on this season, but it'll look good on someone here at the Bayshore next year. Let's start out as usual, though, with some stats around the league. We'll start out with the OHL goaltender of the week for the second straight week. It's Marco Constantini of the Hamilton Bulldogs. He was 2-0 with a 1.00 goals against average, a .960 save percentage, and one shutout in a pair of contests. The Hamilton Bulldogs, perfect in the OHL playoffs, and he's a big part of it. We'll go to the OHL player of the week now, a teammate of Marco Constantini. It's Avery Hayes of the Hamilton Bulldogs. He led the league with 7 points, including 3 goals and 4 assists in a pair of victories. Hayes helped propel the Bulldogs to a 2-0 lead over North Bay in their conference championship series, and he's put together a pair of multi-point outings so far in the Eastern Conference. And another award was announced today. It's the Ems Family Award. It's the Rookie of the Year, and it goes to Cam Allen of the Guelph Storm. He wins the award, handed out annually to the OHL's Rookie of the Year. He was a third-round pick in the 2021 OHL Priority Selection. He had 13 goals, 24 assists, and 37 points in 65 games with a plus-minus rating of +13. He beats out David Goyette of the Sudbury Wolves to win Rookie of the Year honors. Throughout the broadcast, Mark, you talked about it. You talked with some scouts, and they said he's going to be the best player coming out of that 2021 draft class.
I know I told this story a few times on the air, but I'll bring it up once again. I had the chance to go over to the Guelph Storm's training camp way back now in early September, and I saw Cam Allen for the first time. And when I saw him, I didn't know exactly who it was at first. I hadn't looked at the roster sheet just yet, and I thought, who's this guy? He looks like he's been around. This must be a veteran. No, it was a 16-year-old, and Cam Allen, an absolute stud. We saw a lot of him this year, and he is going to be a pain to play against for the Owen Sound Attack for the next few years. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I compared him in one of the broadcasts to Drew Doughty, a former Guelph Storm defenseman, a little shorter on size, but plays big. I think the most impressive stat of all those stats, 13 goals, 37 points, was his 13 plus-minus rating. Plus 13, that's incredible for a 16-year-old defenseman.
For sure, and he's obviously going to learn a lot playing with Daniil Chayka of the Vegas Golden Knights. He's a great mentor for Cam Allen, and Owen Sound's going to see plenty of them here in the years to come. Let's go over now the OHL playoff bracket. We'll get your guys' thoughts. Like I mentioned, the Hamilton Bulldogs, perfect so far in these OHL playoffs. They've kicked off their series with the North Bay Battalion with a 5-2 win in Game 1 and then shut out North Bay Sunday for a 2-0 series lead. Before we jump over to the West, do you see them losing a game in this playoffs?
They'll probably lose one, but I mean, if they don't, I'm not going to be shocked. This is just a juggernaut that will not be stopped, I don't think. The Hamilton Bulldogs, they loaded up. This is what they were going for, was for a lengthy playoff run to grab an OHL championship. It would be something to see them get another OHL title, as they had one just several years ago. They haven't been in Hamilton all that long since moving from Belleville. This team is just too deep. I don't think they'll be stopped.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be stopped either. I think I won't be shocked if it's 16-0 to go to the Mem Cup tournament there in St. John's, New Brunswick. So they are a juggernaut, and I watched a little bit of that game too, and it was not even close.
Mason McTavish brought in at the trade deadline. He was acquired for this playoff run, 17 points. He's been incredible for the Hamilton Bulldogs ever since the trade deadline. And we'll go over now to the Western Conference between the Windsor Spitfires and the Flint Firebirds. Flint took Game 1, by a score of 4-3, and then Windsor explodes on home ice, defeating the Flint Firebirds 7-2. That series is tied at 1, but an interesting development going into tomorrow night Will Luke Kavlin be in net for the Flint Firebirds, going down with injury? I believe it was around 5-2 at the time.
Yeah, some conflicting reports exactly what might have gone on here. He lost a skate blade, then he came out of the game, looked like he might have been injured. So if he is out, we know that would just be a huge blow. And what stood out to me, guys, is the way Windsor bounced back. Good hockey teams do that. You get knocked down a peg in game number 1, and that just gets the juices going even more. And they come out, and like you said, it was an offensive explosion for the Spits, and a Spits Bulldogs final. I'm not going to change my opinion right now, even though that series is 1-1.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see a Windsor native, Matthew Maggio, score a hat trick last night to make it a natural hat trick. At that, it was 2-0 at the time, and then he scored goal number 3, 4, and 5. He's friends with Nick Chenard, so I know Nick was cheering a little bit there for Maj, his old Sun County Panthers teammate.
Well, guys, I believe after Game 7, and even on Attack Wrap, you described the Attack season maybe as a bit of a roller coaster. It was a lengthy one. It was good to, like you mentioned, finally have OHL hockey back here in Owen Sound. Let's take a look at maybe some of our favorite memories throughout the year, and I'll start out with a game in March, I believe it was, where Cedric Gaindon scores 4 goals against the Guelph Storm in a 4-3 overtime victory. Take a look at it there. It was an interesting game, 12 penalties throughout that game. Owen Sound 1 for 7 on the power play, Guelph 0 for 5. And Cedric Gaindon put the team on his back. An exceptional shot there over the shoulder, I believe, of Jacob Oster. And he's going to score a hat-trick goal, one of the few hat-tricks that we saw in Owen Sound all season. And then maybe a little bit of a lucky goal. Beautiful shot there to tie the game with 30 seconds left. And then in overtime, he didn't let go. He kept his foot on the gas. And it's going to bounce off the stick of Daniil Chayka for a 4-point performance. I wish I was in attendance. Keep in mind, Guelph and Owen Sound close in the standings at the time. Mark McKelvie, you were there calling the game alongside Matt Hermes on CFOS. See the replay here of the game-winning goal. Just a simple shot towards the net, goes off the stick of Chayka and in. And he carried the Attack on his back, and it was a big 2 points for the Attack in that Midwest Division battle.
It definitely was. When that goal went in overtime, guys, I was stunned, and stunned in the best way possible. It was just one of those things where he ties the game. Owen Sound seemed to have an incredible knack in Guelph this year to pull the goalie and get the job done, to send a game to overtime. At that point, it's a hat trick. It's not something completely out of the ordinary. We hadn't seen the Attack players being put up a hat trick at that point in the season. Cedric Gaindon gets it, go to overtime. All right, what can the Attack do? Can they get that extra point? And it's just 20 seconds in, and Cedric Gaindon gets a goal that I think it spoke volumes that when you have the hot stick, just keep shooting the puck. They're going to go in. An incredible performance, one we'll remember for quite some time, and one that you don't see quite often from a rookie.
Absolutely not, but you like to see that from your first-round picks, right? So it's Cedric Gaindon getting his time to shine. He won Player of the Week that week when he scored his 4 goals, followed up with 2 assist night the next night. So it was a great performance by a kid that just... That's how he played most of the season. It took him a little time. We'll talk about him a little later on in the show, but it took him a little time to get going, and that's really when he popped off, and we saw the Cedric Gaindon that hopefully we see next season.
Yeah, and guys, when he was leaving the ice, his teammates waited for him. They were giving him the old water bottle shower. It was one of those moments that you could tell this hockey club how much they like each other and how tight of a group they were. So you see them all come together like that. The team had been riding a nice point streak. They were playing their best hockey of the season. So that was one of those games that I think just really brought this young group to even tighter together as we saw the bond as the season went along.
The only downfall with that 4-goal performance, you wish it was on home ice there at the Bayshore. You would have called the game. We would have had an incredible call, and you would have heard the Bayshore explode when Cedric puts in that 4th goal.
It's the season finale. Can I give away a little trick that we might have? I don't know if fans are quite aware, because we didn't get to see a hat trick on home ice other than in the preseason, but there's a constant rumor that a hat seems to come out of the press box when the Attack get a hat trick. Somebody starts that. It may or may not be me. I will not confirm or deny, but all I'm going to say is our hat collection, it's continuing to grow. So we need to see some hat tricks next year so that we can clear some space on our shelves up in the press box.
We're going to be talking about some members in the top 6 for the Owen Sound Attack later on in the show. I think it's safe to say we might see a few hat tricks next season. Mark, we'll let you take this one. I believe it was one of your favorite moments of the season, Woolies Warriors night at the Bayshore.
And the Guelph Storm are the victim once again. Bit of a coincidence here, but what a night this was. As you know, it'd been quite some time since we'd been able to see one of these kind of games, a charity game, and Woolies Warriors and all the work that Mark Woolley has done finally had an opportunity to have this night at the Bay Shore to raise some funds, and you'll see here a thrilling game that takes it into overtime. Keep in mind, the Guelph Storm scored 9 seconds into this game. So after all the pregame ceremonies and everything that went on, the Attack gave up a goal 9 seconds in, a pretty deflating feeling. But they come back, they score a couple of goals in the first. Guelph ties it in the third. Off to OT, where Sam Sedley would be the hero, coming out from behind the net here, and he is going to fire it far side, just inside the post. The great celebration here, pointing to the Woolies Warriors logo on his chest. What a thrilling end to what was a great night, not just on the ice, but off the ice. An incredible amount of money raised, and the work that Mark Woolley has done as a diabetic to raise money for those young athletes to continue pursuing their athletic passions. It was just kind of one of those storybook endings to what was going to be a great night, no matter the result on the ice, and to get a win over a division rival once again, another overtime victory. That was a real special evening, and hats off to Mark Woolley for all the work that he has done, and getting great recognition as he's going to pick up this year's Dan Snyder Humanitarian Award. So that was really cool as well.
You mentioned the work that Mark Woolley puts in off the ice. It's the work that he puts in off the ice and on the ice, being the captain for the Owen Sound Attack this season. I know, speaking to Sam afterwards, huge mentor for Mr. Sedley there, and part of the reason why he points that the crest, just an incredible captain that Mark Woolley was for the Owen Sound Attack this season.
I think one of the cooler things about that entire game and that entire celebration in particular was that Sam Sedley was pointing at the TV side of the ice. Like, he could have been doing that in front of the benches, and you don't see the celebration. But he has Sam Sedley has a little thing for the dramatics, and he knows where the cameras are. He has the nice hair, good-looking kid. He knew where the camera was, and he wanted to really show off what that night represented for him, for the team, and for Mark Woolley.
Now, maybe another moment for you, Adrien. We'll set the scene here. Final game of the season, and it's the final goal scored for the Owen Sound Attack in the regular season.
Yeah, this is the one that I really wanted to highlight, was Colby Barlow's performance. You'll see it's a 2-2 game. He tied the game up with an assist earlier to tie it up, and then he steals the puck here, goes down on a 2-on-1, gets the puck to Sam Sedley. Sam gets it right back to him in front of the net. Just a slick tip, and then he goes jumping into the crowd like Colby Barlow did 30 times this year. A rookie to score 30 goals, a 30-goal performance by a 16-year-old. It has only been done by a few select OHL players in the past 5 years. Arthur Kaliev, and you look at the list of the players, they're all in the NHL right now, and they're all first or second round picks. So the sky is the limit, and I wanted to really put emphasis on Colby Barlow and that goal in particular. What a way to end the year. It was a game that we were talking about it as a broadcast crew, as a game that really didn't mean much in terms of the standings, in terms of, we just want to keep them healthy. We even saw Corbin Votary, in net in that overtime because Nick Chenard played the first and second, and then they needed him to get healthy, or stay healthy rather. So a game that meant absolutely nothing meant so much to the players, to the coaching staff, and they kind of rode that into the playoffs, winning game one of the playoffs.
Yeah, the atmosphere in the building that evening was electric for a game, like you said, that didn't mean a whole lot. But I think you mix in a couple of factors, one being it was the Kitchener Rangers, and those two teams did not like each other all year long. The rivalry all season was fantastic, and I can't wait for that rivalry to be renewed next season. But I think that added a lot to it. The chase for 30 goals for Colby Barlow, to get it in dramatic fashion. Talk about coming up clutch, and that's one thing that you look for in star players. Not just the fact that they got the skills that they can put the puck in the back of the net and they can rack up the points. Can they come through in the important moments? Colby Barlow showed it there in a regular season game. He then showed it in the playoffs. I know we'll talk more about that a little later on, but he has shown that he has a knack for stepping up in the big moments, and that's really exciting to see for the Owen Sound Attack.
Just a really good quote we saw in the Sun-Times afterwards. You could see it. The team was forcing Barlow the puck there throughout most of the game, and he said, stop forcing me the puck. If I'm going to get 30, it's going to come the natural way. He's a good kid off the ice, and for him to put up 30, it was a season-high 15 shots that game. You mentioned Barlow shoots all game long there, but an incredible performance by Colby Barlow in the final game of the regular season. Now, we mentioned some special moments. There were some historic seasons for Colby Barlow, Cedric Guindon. Let's take a look at some of the players that stood out to us the most this season, and we'll start off with Colby Barlow. You mentioned it, 30 goals. He broke every record that he could here for Owen Sound in a rookie season, breaking Bobby Ryan and Dan Siska's record of 21 goals. He tied Joey Hishen's rookie record for 47 points, and he's tied with Cedric Guindon now for the most goals by a rookie here in Owen Sound. You mentioned the clutch in the final game of the regular season. Game 7, no exception. Your 2021 first-round pick goes out and scores 2 goals for you in the Game 7 in an elimination game in round 1. It's exceptional what you're going to see from Colby Barlow. I know we're going to do some projections later on. This kid could score 50 goals next year.
Certainly could.
It would not surprise me if he scores 50 goals. We kind of touched on it in a different show that we have, Sports Wrap. This guy has a shot like Austin Matthews. The quick release that we see in all his shots, but not only that, we're seeing on some highlights, he's in the scoring area. He goes to the danger areas, which a lot of people don't do. We see him right there, right on top of the crease, scores a goal. He's getting cross-checked here, wins a battle. He's a strong kid. You should see his legs off the ice. They are tree trunks. This kid does not look like a 16-year-old. He had one of the biggest beards on the team in 7-game series. He is going to be a stud next year. He will score. I will say it. I'll make the prediction right now. He is going to score 50 goals if he stays healthy next season.
I would agree with that. And you talk about going to the danger areas. He's not just staying on the perimeter. With his kind of shot, it'd be pretty easy to stay on the perimeter. Just 5 goals on the power play. And that's an area that Owen Sound is going to have to improve upon drastically next season. The power play had its struggle, so everybody knows that. And when you got number 39, maybe on one of those sides where he can let his shot go, it should improve the power play, him having another year under his belt. But an incredible rookie season, maybe the best I've ever seen here in Owen Sound. And when he gets the puck, people go to the edge of their seat. It's a lot of fun to watch, excited to see. As we said, the sky is the limit for Colby Barlow.
I think defenders throughout the league next year, though, are going to start taking away his time and space. And you mentioned it, he's going to have to start going to the front of the net because they're not going to give him a lane to shoot. I was surprised there was one game in Flint where he had the time and space and beat Luke Haviland glove side. You're not going to be able to do that next year against Colby Barlow, or he is going to put up 50 goals. We'll take another look now at Cedric Guindon, rookie season, and Mark, will let you take this one away.
Well, Cedric Guindon had to wait a little while to make his OHL debut. He was selected in that draft that took place just after the pandemic hit us, and we had to wait to see what Cedric Guindon was all about. But by all accounts, from the Attack's general manager Dale DeGray and their scouting staff, they were very excited about number 11, and Cedric Guindon did not disappoint. It was a little bit of a slow start when it came to the offensive output for Cedric, but at the end of the day, he finished with very impressive totals. 59 points, was second best on the team, only behind Denny Gore's 63. He hit the 30-goal mark. His second half of the season, his point production was incredible. Of course, it was highlighted by that 4-goal performance in Guelph. But what always stood out to me early in the year was his play in his own zone. And we saw that he is a complete 200-foot player. And although the points weren't coming early in the year, the way that he was showing great responsibility in and around his own net, helping out down low in his own zone, I kept thinking to myself, he's going to be fine. The offense is going to come to him. A lot of rookies, they can't put up those numbers right away. It is an adjustment. I don't care if he was already 17. He wasn't playing the year before, and he really found the offensive side of his games in the second part of the year while not losing or dropping off the play in his own zone. His ability on faceoffs also stood out to me. He was over 50% for the season. So I think here's a player that if you had a Selke Award in the OHL, by the end of his career, he'd be right up there as one of the top candidates, one of the best defensive forwards, and the offensive side of his game should only take another step. I'm excited to see where he goes in the NHL entry draft coming up because I'm not sure he's going to get into that second round. I think he should be a third-round pick for sure, but if he does slide, I think a team's going to get a real steal because another player that has a real bright future.
He's going to have a bright future, and he's just going to continue to develop on that line with Petrovsky and Barlow. What I take away from Cedric Guindon, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder all season long. Maybe he's not ranked as high as he would want to be. He maybe feels like he got snubbed for Rookie of the Year, and he didn't go to the top prospects game. That's just going to fuel him even more and going to want to prove the scouts wrong throughout the regular season.
I know for me, it's his hockey IQ that stands up the most. Like you talked about his 200-foot game. If you watch those highlights over again, you watch where he scored, kind of like Colby Barlow. Smart hockey players know where to go get goals, and it's all around the net, right? So, and it's not going around the net just to be around the net. It's finding the open space, separating you from your defenseman, and he does that. But he also stays tight on defenders in his own zone defensively. You talked about the Selke Trophy. He's kind of got that Nick Suzuki vibe to him defensively. I don't know if he'll ever put up the numbers Nick Suzuki put up offensively, but another thing that surprised me in just his stat pack, he had 30 goals and only 29 assists. I would consider him more of a disher than he is a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So that's only bodes well for the future of this hockey club and of Cedric Guindo's career.
He led the team in plus 11. So I think right there, when we talk about his 200-foot game, there you go, a great example of how good it was. He had the top plus minus on the team. One thing I want to see from Cedric, though, is him getting into the dirty areas. I know we talk about him going to the net, but when I'm talking about the dirty areas, it is a little bit more of that physical play, getting into the corners. And it's not for everybody, of course, and I don't need to see it all the time, but you want to see that he'll get right in there. He doesn't mind mixing things up. We saw that from Colby Barlow, especially in the playoffs. He was a marked man, and he basically took that as, all right, you're going to see a different side of me. I'm angry now. I think Cedric might tap into a little bit of that, and hey, that would be an all-around stud at that point if he finds that part of his game.
We talked about 30 goal scoring. Ethan Burroughs was another 30-goal scorer for the Owen Sound attack, and at some points you saw him, Adrien dropped the gloves, and he wasn't afraid of the physicality either throughout the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll touch on that last part first before I get into really what Ethan Burroughs was all about, and that's being a 200-foot hockey player. Yeah, we heard it on Attack Rap. I believe it was Logan Lesage told us that he took up boxing in the offseason. So it just shows you that he wants to add different elements to his game. Right there, just getting the puck out of the zone. He was winning blue lines all year long, and that's a little thing that goes very, very high for the coaching staff. If you can get the puck out of your own zone, and that's what you want to see as a defensive forward. He was fourth on the team in scorings, and Dale DeGray quoted as saying on Attack Rap just a couple of weeks ago, the quietest 30 goals in the OHL. And he's absolutely right. There's 38 players that had 30-plus goal seasons. 18 of those have NHL affiliates. 9 were OA players. And 4 are going to be drafted this year. And 1 was Colby Barlow. So that leaves you with around 7 guys that don't have ties to the NHL yet. We saw him. He came back from Phillies camp last year, and he gained a lot from that. I think he might be in the runnings with another good season next season to get a pro contract before his OA year. One of the things that I have to mention about Ethan Burroughs is it feels like he doesn't skate, but this is a good thing. He's always in the right position at the right time. And I talked about it earlier on Attack Rap as well. His quick release, he doesn't have to skate into it. It's just a flick of the wrist. It's in the back of the net. His 30 goals were very impressive this season to me. 10 multi-point games. His work ethic in the playoffs was second to none. I thought he might have been the best attacker on the ice, game in, game out for the 7 games. And the last thing, he wore an A for most of the season. We'll talk about this later on in the show. That letter might change come next season.
You know what stood out to me from Ethan Burroughs' game was that he was paying attention to how he's playing in his own zone. Yeah. And I know some people were maybe a little critical in the playoffs. They didn't think the production was there or where they wanted it to be, but we were all seeing the same thing. He blocked a ton of shots. He put his body on the line, and I can live with that any day of the week. When you are showing that you've got that kind of passion in your game, I think it's very impressive. And Ethan Burroughs, I would agree with what was said there, that it might have been one of the quietest 30 goals of the season. In fact, I think when he got his 30th goal, I didn't say it right away. Usually you're on the ball as a play-by-play man, but we're just used to him putting up some points. He's one of those players that falls into that category of where would he have been had he not lost a season. He was coming off his 16-year-old year. I think we saw glimpses of a player who was going to be a top scorer in this league, considering when he started his OHL career, guys, he was on a great pace. It felt like he was scoring every single night. It tailed off maybe later in the year. It's hard to sustain as a 16-year-old, but I thought he was going to find that consistency had we not lost that season. Last year, I thought the consistency was there for the most part. I think it'll be there next year. He's going to continue to develop, and I think he'll get lots of looks going forward, like you said, where people are going to be very intrigued to see where he gets his game. The one thing that stands out, though, his passion. He's got the passion for it. I think he'll just continue to improve, and this will be a big summer for him to come in next year to be a veteran in this league and to be one of those guys that could take over a game.
9 power play goals for Ethan Burroughs. He mixed in a shorthanded goal, 3 game-winning goals. If he's scoring 30 goals and dishing up 21 assists for 50 points. That point total is definitely going to rise. We only have about 3 minutes left until we go for break, so we should remind everyone, text Mark Perry any thoughts, comments, questions you have for the three of us to answer, and you'll be entered in for that Owen Sound Attack autographed jersey. The winner will be decided tonight at the end of the show. We'll know who's winning it by the end of the night. So again, feel free to enter. There was 3 entries last week, so definitely text in your thoughts. We'll read them on air, and we'll answer any questions that we have. Only a few minutes left, so Adrien will get you to start this and maybe have to go over it on the other side of the break. Another impressive player for the Owen Sound Attack this year, Denny Gore.
Yeah, Denny Gore, he led the team in scoring, was a catalyst up front all season long. We see that 68 games, 63 points, just under a point per game. And what stands out is that minus 17. Everybody was talking about his defensive game, but he really turned up the defensive game in the postseason and late in the year. He's got an NHL shot already. We see it on that release against the London Knights. He flies down the wing. He can play center. He can play the wing. I'm excited to see what happens with him next year. How many points will he get? 80-plus points. I'm predicting for him next season. This season was just the beginning. He's kind of like that Ethan Burroughs. Played a year of junior hockey, then missed an entire season. So Denny Gore, hats off to him. He had a great season in my books.
Exactly. I put him right in that category with Ethan Burroughs. I thought they had the possibility to be a great dynamic duo. That's what we were looking for. We lost a season, and it was still another year of them growing. And I think now it's time for them to reach that potential next year, take that step. I think both will be highly motivated. And Denny, he's got the tools to be a top scorer in this league. We saw it this year. And once again, another player that I think his consistency will only take another jump next year.
We'll do lineup projections in the second half, but one thing that excites me for next season will be to have Caleb Lawrence back for the Owen Sound Attack. If they slot him with Denny and Ethan Burroughs, the 3 that were drafted in 2019, it's going to be an exciting time for Attack fans next season. We have to go for break, though. We'll be back on the other side. We'll review some more player stats, and like I mentioned, go over some projected lines and the leadership for next season. We'll throw in our projections here on Attack Wrap on Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Calling all journalism students, Omni Television is once again awarding scholarships to qualified students pursuing a career in third language journalism.
Canada is a multicultural country, and I know that there are a lot of people like me out there. We need a support to do our job in our native language.
Omni is home to a variety of locally produced current affairs programs and daily national newscasts, broadcast in 6 languages. To learn more about Omni scholarships, visit omnitv.ca/scholarships.
Could you use some extra cash? Tune in to McLaren Arts Center TV Bingo on Rogers TV for your chance to win. We have $2,500 in prizes up for grabs every Tuesday night. 5 ways to play, 20 chances each night, but only 1 way to win. Tune in to McLaren Arts Center TV Bingo, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. only on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Gavin Bryant, centerman with the Owen Sound Attack. Catch great OHL action on Rogers TV as we bring you Owen Sound Attack games live, both home and away.
welcome back inside the Rogers TV studio for the first time this season. Finally doing an in-person episode of Attack Rap. Zach Scribner, Adrien Mousseau, and Mark McKelvie. A reminder, call in, text Mark Perry, your thoughts or comments, or even a question for the three of us, and you'll enter yourself in for that jersey giveaway at the end of the show. We'll go back.
Zach, I have to interrupt you here. I just have to say, 30 weeks of Attack Rap, I didn't know you were this good looking. It's finally nice to see this in front. I'm just kidding, buddy. It's nice to be in studio, though. It's very nice.
Hey, this studio was just sitting here collecting dust, so it's nice that we were able to get here in the postseason and then dust it off here for week 30. I was going to save it to the end of the show, guys, but I just want to give you guys kudos. We're not going to turn this into a big love fest, but you guys did a great job with Attack Rap. For both of you, your first season hosting Attack Rap, to guys to come in and to put together 29 shows along with the great work of our entire crew led by Mark Perry. A job well done. Heard great things all season long, and I just want to say great job, guys, and let's finish it off with a bang here.
For sure. Thank you, good sir. We'll go back into some players that we took a look at over this past season, and we'll go with Servac Petrovsky. What can you say about Servac Petrovsky? 28 goals, 26 assists, 54 points. He was a guy that did it all for the Owen Sound attack this season. He got it done on the power play with 9 goals. He had 3 shorthanded goals. And what also stands out to me about Servac Petrovsky is his face-off percentage. He was up there among rookies. It's a guy that was brought in incredible work by the scouting staff of the Owen Sound attack to draft him in the import draft, get him to come back to Owen Sound. And he was a key piece for the Owen Sound attack this season. And he's going to be so much fun to watch next year and in the coming years with Colby Barlow and Cedric Guindon. I assume they're going to keep that line together next season.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy to start the year off with that line and know what you're going to get. Sometimes it takes a little while into the season to find some chemistry. There's already built-in chemistry with that trio. And Servac Petrovsky, I go back to his first goal in the OHL. It came against the Windsor Spitfires. It was a power play goal, a one-time blast. One of those shots that you went, wow, does this guy ever got a cannon? You saw the release right there and the pinpoint accuracy when he put one bar down. Servac Petrovsky's got some incredible tools. I'm excited to see him this summer, guys, when he gets the chance to lace up for Team Slovakia at the World Junior Championship. He made the squad. Of course, the tournament then got canceled partway through. He's got a little older, a few more months experience. I thought he maybe looked a little tired partway through the year, but he found a second wind. I think he has got all those tools to be an elite scorer in this league, and gives Owen Sound quite the offensive weapons they can choose from going forward.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we should note is, and it's really hard to do, for these young kids to come across the country, or not across the country, across the world. Yeah. They have to travel in an ocean to get to us. He doesn't see his family. His family's sleeping. He's awake. It's very hard. These kids are. He's 18 years or 17 years old. It's tough for him. Speaking a different language, it's his first year in North America. Hats off to Servac Petrovsky. He had a great season. And one of the things we saw in one of those clips, blocking shots, he would do anything for the team. And I know the guys love Servac. So that bodes well for the future as well. When you have an import that isn't causing ruffling feathers in the dressing room, because you can get some drama queens in there coming from a different country, but the guys love Servac. Servac loves the guys, and it's he had a great season.
We heard it on Attack Rap. We asked some of the guys in What's in the Hat, who's the worst chirper on the team? Servac Petrovsky. He's too nice of a guy to chirp the opposition, Servac Petrovsky. And you mentioned it, Mark, the one-time blast. You said it a lot this season, but it's going to be said next year. The Barlow and Petro bomb. You have it trademarked now for next season.
Yeah, load up. They will be firing next season, no doubt.
One of my favorite goals was him coming down on a breakaway against Kitchener and just a wrist shot, top shelf, bar down, and it happened so fast. And typically wrist shots take a little bit time to go. It wasn't a snapshot, it was a wrist shot, and he's got all the tools.
We'll move on to a defender. We talked about him a little bit earlier with Woolies Warriors celebration. Mark, you were impressed with the work of Sam Sedley all season long.
Yeah, I was. And you know what? For Sam Sedley, falls into that category again of a player who should have taken the step forward but didn't get that chance because the season was called off. So this was his second year in the league, and he had to jump into a pretty big role. He was heavily relied upon. And I think at times maybe Sam was trying to do a little too much. And that's easy for him because he's got a lot of skill. He has got some great hands. He knows how to move the puck. And at times, I think he had to maybe simplify his game. And when he did that, things were clicking for him. We saw him contribute on a lot of big offensive plays I talked about a little earlier, that overtime winner in the Woolies Warriors game. I'm really excited to see where Sam goes next year, because he is going to be relied upon likely as a QB quarterback, or a power play quarterback, I should say, and he's going to get chances in all situations. And look at the confidence. Look at the way he just skates up with the puck. It's like he's running on the ice at times, like casually out there for a Sunday morning stroll. It just, the way he goes about his business, he's got the confidence, and I think that's going to bode well for him going forward as he just continues to improve and continues to keep himself within where he needs to be to have success on the ice.
And Adrien, one final thought on Sam Sedley. He's been working alongside Joey Hishin ever since his minor midget season with the Huron-Perth Lakers, and his role elevated after the departure of Andrew Perrott.
I was just going to touch on that, so that's a great segue there, Zach. His hands might be the best hands on the entire team. The way that I get to sit or stand rinkside for basically every single game, and the way he takes pucks off the boards is second to none on the team, and maybe in the Midwest Division, because he gets the puck and he's never tight for space. Yeah. It's like he's in a telephone booth. He's so calm, cool, collected. He's got that Trevor Zegras West Coast vibe. He's just a chill kid out there on the ice, and that's good for him. Mm-hmm. He took all the pressure from Andrew Perrott. Yeah, you said he had tough times. Put up 38 assists on the year. He's the quarterback power play this year. He's going to be the quarterback power to play next year and maybe the year after as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's just going to be about taking that step forward. The tools are there, right, guys? So it's about limiting some of the turnovers, some of being a little too casual at times, but every once in a while he's going to wow us with a nice end-to-end rush. I think we'll really see those next year.
And one final player that we'll take a look at is the man between the pipes for the Owen Sound attack, Adrien, in Nick Chenard.
Yeah, Nick Chenard. I've had the pleasure of knowing Nick for a few years now. I used to teach him when he was in grade 8, in fact. And coming into the season, it was technically his 4th eligible season in the OHL. He had only played 11 games coming into this season. So since 2018, he had played 11 games coming into this season. He was 6-4-1 with a shutout in his rookie season. Then he comes in, Guzda gets traded, and he is the man between the pipes. So Vodary and Guzda, they're playing well. In preseason, Nick Chenard had a gruesome injury where he had a metal rod put into his finger, and he didn't even know if he was going to make the team or if he was going to go home because, like I mentioned, only 11 games coming into the season. You would not have noticed that if you came to know Owen Sound attack game this season and saw him between the pipes. He was rock solid. We're seeing all these highlight reel saves. Was goaltender of the week once, honorable mention twice, including a playoff performance where he's I did a lot of research in this. The only thing I could find was he saved the most, or his playoff shutout, was the most saves by a playoff shutout in Owen Sound attack history. Mm-hmm. So 46 saves in that game 6, 4-0 win. When the time was tight, when the games were tight, Nick Chenard was always there, calm, cool, and collected in net. He's not a very fast guy. We saw him difficulty going post to post. I want to see that next season, him get a little faster on his feet. But for the year that he had, the attack were 6-8 prior to the Guzda trade, and then 28-26 after the trade. So they went plus 500 with him as the number one guy. I'm not saying it was the Guzda's fault at all, but now with all that added pressure off the shoulders, instead of battling with somebody, he knew he was the number one guy, and he did exactly that. In talking to him, he was really happy that he got the chance to prove his worth, and he's very excited for next season.
Easy guy to cheer for. I remember talking to him before training camp kicked off, and you just one of those guys you can talk to him and you want to root for him. You want to see him have success, good human being, and had a great season. And to now have that number one role, he has to be so excited for next season for a big opportunity, because I think he has put himself up there as one of the top goaltenders in the league. Now it's time to become one of the elite netminders in the Ontario Hockey League. I think the ability is there. He, like you mentioned, stepped up in some pretty big moments, and if you're the Owen Sound attack, goaltending will not be a question mark going into next year.
We have a comment from a viewer, Lindsay Carefoot, saying, thank you for a great season of attack raps. They really enjoyed watching it. She wants to know which OHL or even attack prospect are we most excited to watch for this upcoming season?
Well, it's probably the easy answer, guys. Michael Mousseau, correct? He gets exceptional status. Exceptional status, I think we maybe need to change the term for it because it puts a lot of pressure on the player. He's ready to play in the OHL, let's just put it that way. I saw him in the OHL Cup, and he took that as a challenge to say, I'm going to prove why I need to get exceptional status, or I should be granted exceptional status. Blew it out of the water, OHL Cup record. So really excited about that. How about an attack prospect, guys? Kyle Morey. There's a name that you might want to get familiar with. Had a fantastic season playing in the GOJHL. Again, not signed at this point, so it's always a little bit of a guessing game where some of these players the attack might be able to sign and bring them into the fold will come from. But there's a player I think is definitely got to be high up on their list, and we'll talk a little bit about him in just a few moments.
You mentioned Michael Mousseau there. We should note that he got drafted by the Saginaw Spirit, if people weren't aware of that. For me, it's Nathan Villeneuve of the now Sudbury Wolves. He's 6'3" at 15 years old and almost 200 pounds. This guy is ready for the OHL. He might be ready for the NHL with that frame size. So I'm excited. I saw highlights of him. He's fast, he's strong, and he scores goals. And he could be a force in the OHL come next year. So watch out for that 16-year-old next year.
I'll take an attack prospect, Antonio Tersini. Drafted out of the Toronto Junior Canadiens program, a stacked U16 team in the GTHL. And I asked the scout about him after the Owen Sound Attack drafted him. He said, you're going to love this kid. And we even asked Dale DeGray on Attack Wrap. His work ethic is unbelievable. And I think it sounds like he's going to become a fan favorite here in Owen Sound. Speaking of prospects, and maybe the season that is, we'll look at our lineup projections for the 2022-23 Owen Sound Attack. I'm not sure if you guys organized it this way, but I didn't organize my line combos.
Oh, mine are line combos.
Your line combos. I didn't. I'm not saying that this is going to be the lines next season for the Owen Sound Attack, but we'll take a look at mine there. Obviously, Cedric Guindon, Colby Barlow, Servac Petrovsky. Mentioned it earlier. Caleb Lawrence. We hope that he's going to be healthy for next season. He only got to play a period and a half, but he's going to be a huge addition for the Owen Sound Attack if they have championship aspirations alongside Denny Gore and Ethan Burroughs. Ben Cormier said it with Adrien, I'm here to score goals. You love that confidence from a rookie. When you have Colby Barlow on your team, Owen Sound's going to score a lot of goals. Gavin Bryant and Julian Fantino, what a performance he had in the playoffs. And then we go into some rookies there, Tersini, Lesage, Lorenzo Bonaiuto, and then I put on Morey and Thomas Chafe. For my forwards, maybe a little bit of lineup projection for next season.
Yeah, that's a good look at what is likely going to be players right there in the hunt. I don't think we're going to vary too much. We will get a chance to see Adrian's combinations in a moment, but let's take a look at my forwards there. You didn't have William Portocalis on there, and I know there's some speculation whether he'll be back as an overager. For the sake of this conversation, I'm going to include him there. I included everybody who was on the team last year. We know when you go into training camp, not all spots are always guaranteed, but you're going to have that chance to get your spot back and to continue to progress. And for some of the young players that stood out to me, how about a Julian Fantino? It was a real rocky regular season for him, but he stepped up huge in the playoffs. And when he showed that ability in the playoffs, he has certainly given himself a big chance to be involved, I think, in the top 6 next year for this attack lineup. I think the coaches and staff will really give him an opportunity. I remember Joey Hishon telling me about the fact that towards the end of the year, he really turned things around. His work ethic and the work he was putting in off the ice ended up showing when they got into the playoffs. But you go through my forward groups there, and I mentioned it, Kyle Morey played for St. Mary's in the GOJHL, was nearly a point per game. If I'm the attack, you're really looking at getting him locked in and bringing him into the mix. But there's probably not a whole lot of surprise up there with that top group, or at least the top 9. And again, one player I'm really excited to see next year, as he'll be another year older, is Thomas Chafe. Guys, he's a workhorse. He might be the fastest player in the league too, and he can play in many different situations. He'll be a little bit older now. Here'll be an opportunity for him to grow as well, and I think he'll become a fan favorite.
Before we go into yours, Adrien, I know a moment that stood out to you. I believe it was a regular season game against the Flint Firebirds. You didn't stand down from Captain Brennan Othman, who Owen Sound fans saw lots of in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there in the stands that day. I wasn't working that day. I was just watching. I couldn't believe Thomas Chafe, little 5 foot, I think he might be 5'8", 5'9", going after the Flint Firebirds captain, a first round NHL draft pick, and he didn't stand down there, and he sure will not stand down next season as well.
One roster to look at, Adrien Mousseau's forwards, maybe even some line combinations for
There's
next
some
season.
line juggling. I made some line juggling. I want to see that Ottawa connection on the second line, Cedric Guénaud, Ben Cormier, and Caleb Lawrence. I think that size will bode well on that line. Denny Gould goes to the wing with Servac and Barlow. That line could each put up 90-plus points, 50 goals each, easily if they stay together and they play the way they are. You got that shutdown, more offensive line with Bryant, Portocalis, and Burroughs. And then I have Luke Bibby. He played for the Cambridge Redhawks, was their leading scorer all season in Junior B, and I think he'll potentially have a shot of making this team. I know he's a little bit older, but you don't want to...
Can't let a talent like that go over waste, right?
Yeah,
if
limit a talent like that. You got a talent like that, might as well use him. And then I have the Kyle Morey. So he's from St. Mary's. He'll be probably skating with Joey Hishin in the offseason, a fourth-round pick, the same draft as Colby Barlow. You never know when you got a kid that put up almost a point per game in the Junior B as a 16-year-old playing for the St. Mary's Lincolns. That could be a diamond in the rough for the Owen Sound attack.
Would you guys agree that a player on that list we only had limited viewings of this season, Lorenzo Bonanuto, what a dark horse he could be, right? I mean, he's got the size. I think his skating isn't that bad. It's going to continue to get better. He's rangy. We don't really know what he is. He spent a lot of the time sidelined, so I'm excited to see if he can come in healthy and what he can bring. Again, he'll now be 18 years old, and a guy like that with that kind of size, you don't want to see it go to waste.
Lorenzo, I was going to say, all that when he was healthy and on the ice, it was his work ethic that stood out, and he was never afraid to finish a check. If you guys want to be a little hopeful, Adrien doesn't think it'll happen, but Isaac Howard is an Owen Sound attack prospect. We didn't have him on the list there. Maybe keep your fingers crossed because he looks like a first-round talent.
I give him a 1% chance that Minnesota Duluth's going to be a wagon next year in the NCAA. I give it 1%. He's American. He might want to go the NCAA route. So,
well, but if he doesn't get his ice time, you never know. The right NHL team drafts him. And hey, there's a lot of forwards we just showed there. So there aren't that many spots, let's be real. Yeah. So I know we'll talk about maybe some off-season moves that have to be made. I think there'll be some tough decisions for this group. And, you know, there's players on there that, hey, maybe we've already heard their name once before, and maybe they'll reappear. You never know. There are a lot of potential options and question marks going forward.
Maybe hinting at a little Josh Szymanski action, maybe. Yeah,
I didn't say it. You said that.
I said it.
We don't have much time left. Let's take a look now at our defensive projections for the Owen Sound attack. A lot of rookies there. We'll take a look at mine, Nolan Seed, Sam Sedley. I did organize it left D and right D, so maybe some line combinations. Tejas Jordan, what a season he had, looking like maybe another Mark Woolley with the physicality alongside Cal Ewens. Cedrickson, Oki Tundu, and Madden Steen. Second-round pick for the Owen Sound attack, Braden Rogers, alongside the first-round pick in the U18 draft, Tristan Caldwell, who obviously we didn't get to see him play, but talking to Dale DeGray, sounds like honestly could be another Mark Woolley with the he's not shy for throwing the body around.
Yeah, he's got the size. If we take a look now at the group that I've got, all those names in there as well, but I wanted to see some more size maybe added to the back end. I'm excited to see what Madden Steen will bring because he has taken his game, I thought, to another level late in the year, especially in the playoffs. So I've got quite a few guys on the list there, but Mitchell Young played for Waterloo in the GOJHL, 6'1", an attack draft pick that I wonder if he'll be brought into the fold, just again, to bring a little more size to this D-core. And you also see right there, guys, import. Servac Petrovsky up front. We didn't have Stepan Makachek on our list up front with the forwards. He would be an overage. I don't see the attack having him as one of the overagers, especially when he is an import. But that being said, if you're going to bring in a second import here, you've already got Petrovsky up front, like I said. Use it on the back end. I think that could be a big boost, especially if you find the right guy.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at my decor. It's the same names over and over again. We saw the same players play key roles in the playoffs when Igor Chibukov got injured. So missing him, it's going to be huge, both physically and what he brings to the lineup. But I have Tristan Caldwell and Madden Steen together as a shutdown pair. I like Tejas Jordan and Sam Sedley. They played a lot together. Cal Ewens is just going to take another step. I think an interesting thing to note about Cal Ewens' game is he's not going to be in high school next year. He graduated a year early so to focus on his NHL draft year. So he, just by doing that, shows me how much passion and how much he wants to take it to the next level. Scored 4 goals this year. He could easily double that next year if given the opportunity is right. Nolan Seed as an OA defenseman as well. I like your import pick. I think they need to find, no offense to anybody on that list, but I think they need to find a stud defenseman if they want to win a championship next year.
Definitely that. I know we didn't talk a lot about the overagers, guys, but let's keep it in mind. The overage group, there'll be decisions to be made as you look at who could be back next year. That is a 2002 born player. You've got William Portocalis, Logan Lesage, Nolan Seed, Nick Chenard. You can only keep 3 of them. Maybe that decision will be made for you. We'll see if they do some juggling, but something to keep in mind, some of those decisions.
I know throughout game notes we were discussing prior to the draft, who are they taking in the first round? I honestly agree with you there. I think if they will have one spot open, we don't really see Makachek coming back, so defenseman option there for the Owen Sound attack in the import selection. I think the goalies are going to be pretty obvious. I only included 2, Nick Chenard, Corbin Vaudry. Not any secret there. Mark, you had a 3rd goalie on your list.
Yeah, I put Carter George in there as he was the attack's top goalie that they selected in the most recent priority selection. The reason I put him in the mix there, Ray, is he's from Thunder Bay. I think they're going to want to get him closer to here in Owen Sound. Maybe he's playing Junior B. Maybe he's in some other spot. Or maybe they carry 3 goaltenders. Maybe they think this is where he can get the development. He will only be 16 years old. Corbin Vaudry, we would expect, will then jump into the number 1 role the year after. Carter George, some limited action at 16, take the backup role. It's all about a cycle. You've got 2 years between each of those goaltenders there. I like that because you need to be set between the pipes.
And Adrien, your goaltender list, the same as mine, Nick Chenard and Corbin Vaudry.
Yeah, I could see Nick Chenard playing upwards of 50 games next season. I think he's going to get that Mac Guzda that we saw in 2018-2019 season where he's played most of the games. Nick Chenard had only played 11, as I mentioned earlier on in the show. I think it's going to be much more of that with Corbin Vaudry as the backup option. But Carter George might get some games, might get some looks here and there at the start of the season, especially in training camp.
Now, there's our lineup projection. So before we draw for the jersey, the leadership group. There's a captaincy that's vacant now in Owen Sound. Mark, we'll start out with you. Who do you project gets the C?
Okay, well, there's a lot of options, and that's a really good thing for this hockey club. There's lots of guys they could choose from. We saw different players wear the A at times this year. Heck, we saw Colby Barlow even have the A on. It's not too often you see a 16-year-old wearing it, but a player that really stood out to me, and it might be a little off the beaten path because they haven't always done this here. Usually you do take a veteran player. You're okay with the captain only wearing the C for 1 year and then exiting. But I wondered about giving it to Gavin Bryant. And for me, Gavin Bryant defines leader, heart and soul. He's vocal. He plays hard out there. I was so impressed by his rookie season and his work ethic, how much he covers the ice. He gets in there. He plays hard. He competes every night. There wasn't a night that you watched him and went, he really checked out. And I think he could be a leader here for the next few years. And I kind of like that idea of having the C on one player who I think will embrace it to the fullest and really help drive this team forward in that leadership capacity. So if you're okay with going with a younger player or youngish player, I would go with Gavin Bryant.
Are we going a clean sweep here, Adrien?
Yeah, my guy is Gavin Bryant as well. But last week on Attack Wrap, the assistant coaches mentioned that they don't know if they're going to have just one captain. They might split time. So if there's going to be a home captain and an away captain, I could see Gavin Bryant getting the away captaincy and then giving the home captaincy to a more veteran player.
Yep.
And I like the quietness of Ethan Burroughs. I'm not sure how he is in the room. I'm not privy to that information inside the room and how he deals with all the other guys. But what I do know is on the ice, he works 100%. He gives 110 every single shift. And that's what you want to see out of a leader. He wore an A for most of the season. I'm not going to go off the board and say that he's not going to have a letter. I think he's going to have a letter next year no matter what. I would be wondering if he's going to have the home C and then give the away C. My captain, if they go with 1C, number 13, Gavin Bryant.
I think so as well. We get to talk to Gavin, obviously on Attack Wrap. Just the way he speaks as a rookie here in his rookie year, it's unbelievable. We did get a comment though, Stepan Makachek, will he be back next year?
I just don't think so, guys, and it's not because the Attack don't want him back. I know Greg Walters loved him, and we love watching him play. He drags them into the battle, but again, as we mentioned earlier, you'd be using one of your overage spots on an import, so unless you really feel he's the kind of guy you need on your team, taking you into battle and being a leader, he wore a letter as well this year, then maybe you do it, but it's tough with those import spots. You're kind of taking out two positions with one player, considering you can only have 3 overagers and you can only have 2 imports. You maybe want to spread that around. I'd love to see Stepan back, though, because he makes things a lot of fun, usually getting into those post-whistle scrums.
He'll have the chance to get a pro contract in Europe as well, being a European. So if he gets the chance at a pro contract, I don't see him saying no to that.
Just one last thing on the leadership conversation, guys. I know we're getting a little tight on time, though, is like I said before, what a great problem to have when you have so many candidates that could be a leader. I don't mind the idea of leadership by committee. Usually I would not go with that. I'm typically a traditionalist that you go with one guy wearing the seat, because you do, at the end of the day, when times get tough, you want to be able to look at one guy. You don't want to be looking around looking for, is he going to speak up or is he going to speak up? You like having that one captain, but based on how we saw this team bond together and different guys step up in that leadership role, I think in this situation, leadership by committee could work.
And you're obviously going off a great leader. Everyone in that group is going to have leadership qualities based off of Mark Woolley. Adrien, you did what's in the hat all season long. Would you like the honors, or Mr. McKelvie? Do you want to draw off?
I want Adrien to pull out who's winning this jersey. I'll get all our ballots, and this is heavy. I'll get it shuffled up here.
First, before I pull the name of the hat, to the viewers at home, on behalf of Zach and I, who did this for 30 weeks, we appreciate the fact that you guys tuned in every Tuesday at 7 p.m., or if you guys watched it on the internet or on repeat at some other time that it was showing. We appreciate your support. We heard great feedback, which was hard for me and Zach, who I'm a teacher by trade. Zach's works at Zehrs and has a journalist background, but we appreciate the feedback that we got. Most of it positive, a little bit negative, but hey, constructive criticism is always fun, and we appreciate you guys for that. So here it is, the winner of the 2021-2022 Attack jersey, signed by all the players. Let's see right here.
Joseph Gamble, the winner of the signed jersey. You'll be able to get in contact with Mark Perry about picking it up. Honestly, thank you for everyone for entering into the jersey giveaway, and congratulations to Joseph for winning the jersey. Guys, we don't have much time left. Adrien said it. Thanks for everything this season. And it's a short off season. We're looking forward to training camp at the end of August. And we didn't get to talk about our expectations for next season. I think it could be a lengthy one here in Owen Sound. So guys, it was a lot of fun, but thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. This was a blast. I look forward to reuniting again at the end of the summer.
For sure. Well, on behalf of Adrien, Mark, and myself, thank you for tuning in all season long, whether it be Attack Wrap or the Owen Sound Attack broadcast. We look forward to seeing you at training camp in the summer, and thank you for watching Attack Wrap on Rogers TV.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
I did it. I need it.
A hero gave it.
And I am alive.
As an organ donor, you can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 75 others. Please go to our website. Pledge a gift of life. You'll be glad you did.
Call Calling all journalism students. Omni Television is once again awarding scholarships to qualified students pursuing a career in third language journalism.
I am very grateful to be